When we gaze upwards at the night sky, that vast canopy strewn with stars, humanity invariably feels a primordial yearning to cast off the cradle of Earth and extend our reach towards those distant luminaries. In our grandest visions, we envisage spacecraft piercing the veil of darkness, bridging the gulfs of the galaxy, transforming voyages spanning millions of light years into mere leisurely excursions akin to a weekend stroll. Yet, when the illumination of modern physics casts its unyielding truth upon these aspirations, we confront the realization that the speed of light is not merely a numeral on a velocity gauge, nor a technological hurdle to be surmounted by more potent engines. It stands as an eternal rampart, the demarcation that upholds the cosmic order and causality itself, the inviolable juncture where space and time intertwine in unassailable decree. In the profound lens of theoretical physics, light transcends its role as merely a swift conveyor of energy and images through photons. It embodies a fundamental constant of reality, the utmost velocity for information propagation, the cadence of causality. The special theory of relativity unveils that space and time are not rigid, autonomous stages but intimately conjoined, pliable entities in perpetual dialogue. As an object nears the speed of light, the universe manifests in eerie, counterintuitive manners. For that object, time dilates dramatically, elapsing far more sluggishly than for a stationary observer, while space contracts along the direction of motion. Should a massive entity attain the speed of light precisely, its time would halt entirely, suspended in an eternal instant, rendering the familiar notions of past, present, and future devoid of meaning. For a photon itself, the journey from its genesis in a remote star to its absorption by our retina billions of years hence collapses into a singular, unified moment, bereft of temporal flow. Yet more harrowing and spine-chilling are the cataclysmic repercussions of endeavoring to breach this sacred threshold. The serene precision of mathematical equations reveals that, in certain reference frames, superluminal motion entails the reversal of time. Envision a cosmos where causal sequences invert uncontrollably, with effects preceding their causes. This would dismantle the logical underpinnings of all events we hold as truths. If superluminal travel were feasible, one might dispatch warnings of calamities before their occurrence, or even prior to the decision to issue such alerts. When causes no longer precede effects, the past and future intermingle perilously, blurring the demarcation between the transpired and the unmanifest. Such a universe could not sustain stability, for it would be stripped of its capacity to forge determinate histories and realities. Thus, the speed of light is no arbitrary figure but a bulwark safeguarding causality. All subluminal motions unequivocally ensure that causes antedate effects, preserving the universe from self-contradiction. Transgressing this boundary is not merely accelerating through three-dimensional space but a violent assault upon the fabric of temporal structure. Modern physics deems this transgression untenable, not due to deficiencies in our technology or energy reserves, but because the logical coherence of the cosmos would instantaneously unravel. If causality were not preserved, every physical law, from energy conservation to thermodynamics, would forfeit its import, incapable of enduring. Hence, the boundary of light is not a shackle confining humanity to the solar system but a mechanism by which the universe averts its own annihilation. It guarantees that each event possesses a commencement before its culmination, allowing narratives from a speck of dust to entire galaxies to unfold in coherent sequence. Absent this boundary, reality would devolve into a maelstrom of layered paradoxes, inexplicable and ungovernable. The reason humanity cannot surpass the speed of light lies not in our frailty but in the inherent nature of the universe we inhabit, permitting such would render its existence impossible. The speed of light serves as physics' firewall, warding off the encroachment of chaos upon order. To cross it is not, as we might naively suppose, to unlock absolute liberty, but to precipitate the wholesale collapse of spatio-temporal architecture. This constitutes the paramount, most fundamental, and profound rationale for the universe's resolute denial of all forms of superluminal traversal. If humanity achieved it, the quandary would reside not in velocity or energy expenditure but in the contradiction wherein events in time commence and their instigating causes clash. The grandfather paradox exemplifies the intractable quandary that arises when causal boundaries are unprotected. Suppose superluminal travel enables a return to the past, where one prevents one's grandfather from encountering one's grandmother. Consequently, one's parents would never be born, and thus oneself would cease to exist. The immediate conundrum emerges: if one does not exist, how could one journey back to enact the prevention? Who, then, thwarted the grandfather? This forges a logical closed loop, a snare without egress, which physics forbids. Surpassing the speed of light would, in certain frames, propel signals into the past, thereby flinging open portals for such paradoxes to infiltrate reality. This implies receiving answers to queries yet unposed. When information transgresses causal boundaries, the origins and outcomes of events become indistinguishable. The universe cannot abide an object's shadow preceding it or the report of a gunshot antedating the trigger's pull. Therefore, the speed of light boundary functions as an immense safety valve, quelling all causal paradoxes at their inception. All signals subliminal ensure information cannot retroactively alter history. This precept upholds the unidirectional flow of time, albeit replete with complexities and stochastic variables. Without the boundary, even the most trivial decisions would spawn myriad contradictions, rending reality into meaningless shards. The universe does not merely disdain paradoxes, paradoxes preclude the sustainable architecture of the cosmos. Causality is no philosophical elective but the indispensable precondition, the core premise, for reality's operation. No matter how audacious a physical theory, if it permits temporal inversion, it must squarely and comprehensively address causal dilemmas. Theories incapable of resolving the grandfather paradox remain mere parchment computations, forever unrealizable. Recent advancements in theoretical physics, as of 2025, have proffered intriguing resolutions to such paradoxes through quantum mechanics. For instance, research by physicists like Carlo Rovelli and others demonstrates that on closed time-like curves, thermodynamics undergoes alterations due to quantum fluctuations, effectively erasing entropy in a manner that renders impossible events temporarily paradoxical yet self-resolving. These fluctuations ensure that the timeline maintains consistency, preventing alterations that would spawn loops. Quantum mechanics thus precludes changes to the past, as probabilities conspire to preserve the observed reality. This insight, drawn from studies published in leading journals, bolsters the notion that time travel, if conceivable, would be self-consistent, with no scope for paradoxical interventions. Modern physics thereby elevates causal preservation above humanity's yearnings for temporal voyages or spatial dominion. The light boundary is the universe's proclamation that the past is immutable, impervious to interference or revision. The grandfather paradox stands as the most potent admonition against naive reveries of transcending the speed of light. Acknowledging the impossibility of direct acceleration beyond the speed of light, human ingenuity has pivoted towards circumventing it by warping space itself. Wormholes, or Einstein-Rosen bridges, are envisaged as clandestine conduits threading through the fabric of spacetime, linking remote cosmic locales via anomalously abbreviated distances. Much like an ant traversing an apple not by circumnavigating its rind but burrowing through its core. In theory, passage through a wormhole violates no local speed of light, as velocities remain subluminal within the immediate spacetime. It merely folds space, abbreviating the pathway. Yet, these exquisitely fragile constructs demand stabilization against instantaneous collapse, necessitating exotic energy forms unobserved in nature. Such energy must exhibit negative density, an abstraction antithetical to all familiar matter or energy, which possess positive mass and engender attractive gravity. Negative energy density would yield a repulsive, anti-gravitational thrust to prop open the wormhole's throat for traversal. Recent investigations, as of 2025 and 2026, have illuminated promising avenues. Models integrating quantum gravity with dark matter suggest wormholes might be stabilized with minimal exotic matter, or even none, within non-minimal Einstein-Young-Mills frameworks. For example, studies in F, Q, gravity and loop quantum cosmology explore wormholes sourced by isotropic dark matter, such as Bose-Einstein condensates or Einasto profiles, potentially rendering them traversable. Simulations employing quantum computers have replicated wormhole dynamics, transmitting quantum information through systems mimicking these tunnels, thereby advancing gravitational research. Furthermore, 2025 experiments with non-local artificial metamaterials have emulated wormhole effects and parallel realities, transcending physical dimensional constraints and furnishing novel pathways for empirical validation. A notable 2025 study posits a caterpillar-like wormhole, a protracted, undulating structure, potentially linking entangled black holes, devoid of singularities, thus broadening theoretical feasibility. Nonetheless, whilst quantum mechanics via the Casimir effect permits negative energy on microscopic scales, amassing quantities requisite for human-scale wormholes lacks empirical substantiation. Beyond wormholes, the concept of warping engines, or warp drives, presents an enthralling alternative. In this paradigm, space ahead of the vessel contracts precipitously, whilst that astern expands, engendering a space-time wave that propels the craft forward. The vessel remains stationary within a flattened spatial bubble, gliding akin to a surfer upon a crest. Technically, the craft does not exceed the speed of light relative to its environs, thus adhering to special relativity. Mathematically, the Alcubierre warp drive model equilibrates Einstein's field equations. However, scripting equations does not equate to physical instantiation. Developments in 2025 to 2026 proffer refined segmented designs and stable shell models that obviate negative energy, aligning more harmoniously with general relativity. These innovations employ a stable matter shell and precise shift vectors to warp spacetime, drastically curtailing energy demands, potentially to levels below a Jupiter mass equivalent, though still prodigious. Simulations of gravitational waves from collapsing warp bubbles intimate detectable signatures, aiding prospective verification. Yet, warp drives harbor perils of causal disruption and radiation hazards. As the vessel traverses within its bubble, it accrues high-energy particles along its trajectory. Upon deceleration at destination, this devastating beam unleashes, incinerating all in its path. Certain models permit signals to regress temporally via orbital manipulations, reverting to risks akin to direct superluminal travel. Thus, wormholes and warp drives emerge not as straightforward evasions but as enigmas yet unresolved by physics. They persist as elegant mathematical prospects, not artifacts forged from screws and metal. Unresolved quandaries of negative energy and causal paradoxes consign any ingenious detour to the same frigid barrier. The universe appears to permit imaginings of escape routes to satiate curiosity, yet withholds the instruments for realization. This intimates that the light boundary is no mere mechanical motion cap but the quintessential limit underpinning all stable cosmic structures. All paths beyond light, whether via direct propulsion or spatial contortion, confront the identical causal preservation dilemma. Perhaps wormholes or warp drives serve not as portals to galactic dominion but as subtle reminders. Certain limits are inherently insurmountable, to safeguard reality's endurance. From these analyses, paradoxes, technologies, and explorations of limits, the query lingering in our minds is not whether humanity can transcend the speed of light, but why the universe necessitates this limit for stable existence. The speed of light curtails not solely material motion but delineates the propagation velocities of interactions, gravity, electromagnetism, and information flow. Owing to this limit, all cosmic events possess lucid chronological order, forging billions of years of history, structure, and evolution. Were information to propagate instantaneously or retrogress, stable formations from atoms to galaxies would disintegrate air formation. Fundamental particles would falter in responding to forces, rendering physics bereft of predictability and regularity. Causality is no arid philosophical dictum but the mechanism ensuring reality neither contradicts nor crumbles upon itself. The light boundary assures causes ample temporal span to yield effects without chaotic superposition. This order begets intricate, exquisite processes, stellar formation, planetary orbital stability, molecular biology's advancement, culminating in human consciousness. Life itself, with its marvels, hinges upon genetic information and biochemical reactions adhering rigorously to temporal sequence, incapable of superluminal dissemination. Hence, the light boundary stifles not cosmic progress but furnishes the steadfast foundation for all conceivable advancement. Humanity often regards limits with hubris, as barriers to shatter, yet in the grand cosmic tapestry, limits are prerequisites for existence and meaning. Without the light boundary, no recollectable history, no experimental present, no coherent future. We are not ensnared in a finite universe but meticulously shielded by it. The light boundary, etched at the universe's inception in the Big Bang, precludes reality's descent into void. Any civilization aspiring to longevity must learn reverence and adaptation to this fundamental natural limit. To transcend light is not the next stride in human intellect but an erroneous step effacing reality's bedrock. True science pledges not boundless arbitrary freedom but profound comprehension and humility before unbreakable edicts. In grasping this, humanity before the vast cosmos appears not diminutive but wiser and more mature in contemplating our mode of being. The light boundary is no callous rebuff to our desires but an invitation to delve deeper into its intricate architecture. The final query for humanity, then, is, knowing the limit insurmountable, shall we futilely assail the wall, or within secure bounds, exist sustainably and joyfully, exploring wonders? In that epoch, the primordial observers who first lifted eyes to the night sky, pondering stellar velocities, deemed light a swift emissary of space. Only later did they comprehend its finitude as the anchor preventing all past, present, and future from collapsing into senseless chaos. With profound gratitude, we pay homage to the white-haired Albert Einstein, who reshaped the world through equations, to Stephen Hawking, whose spirit roamed freely despite corporeal immobility, and to thousands of physicists, mathematicians, and astronomers who devoted lifetimes to deciphering the universe's enigmatic tongue. Their dedication and quiet contributions to human knowledge and society we acknowledge, thanking them for illuminating that limits are sometimes not for breaching but for honoring. Though we cannot surpass the speed of light, humanity's imaginative and comprehending desires know no bounds. May they continue to illumine the galaxy's shadowed recesses. Some things remain eternally unattainable, but that distance itself is the solemn, sacred beauty of truth's pursuit. To deepen our contemplation of the universe's essence, transcending superficial physical phenomena, we recognize that light is no mere energetic form or electromagnetic undulation in vacuum but the basal pulse, the respiration sustaining reality's existence. Imagine a cosmic vessel, humanity's technological masterpiece, accelerating in pursuit of a photon beam. Amid the absolute silence of the cosmos, engines roar, propelling the craft ever swifter, when peculiar, obstinate spectacles unfold. These transpire not beyond the portholes but within the enveloping spatio-temporal structure itself. As the vessel attains a substantial fraction of light speed, the external universe distorts in dramatic, fearsome fashion. Stars scattered across the black expanse no longer retain positions. Due to optical aberration, they cluster towards the prow, coalescing into dazzling luminous points. Akin to raindrops assailing a windscreen in a tempest as the vehicle hurtles forth. Stellar hues warp likewise, the Doppler effect blue shifts and violets forward starlight, ultimately vanishing into lethal ultraviolet and X-rays. Conversely, the aft universe sinks into ruddy obscurity, wavelengths elongating into invisible radio waves, extinguishing. The vessel no longer glides through familiar space but plunges into a contorted tunnel of light, where visual deceptions render quotidian senses futile. Yet visual alterations are merely the prelude to more formidable resistances in the universe's protective arsenal. Under special relativity, the vessel's mass is no invariant constant as velocity escalates. Initially gradual, but as the speedometer approaches the absolute limit, the curve soars vertically. Propelling a heavier entity swifter demands commensurately greater energy. At 99.9% of light speed, to a stationary observer, the vessel's mass verges on infinity. This inexorably yields a physical outcome. Attaining light speed precisely necessitates infinite energy, surpassing the aggregate from all cosmic stars. The universe thus erects an immense energetic wall, adamantly rebuffing any massive entity's approach to instantaneousness. As the vessel grapples with mass energy, a profounder philosophical tragedy unfolds alongside time. Within the vessel, astronauts perceive normality, their clocks tick methodically, heartbeats maintain familiar biological rhythms. Yet, if Earth were visible, they would witness human history flicker past in blinks, dynasties rise and fall, mountains erode, oceans desiccate in mere winks. We perceive time as uniformly equitable flow, but it is relative, elastic with motion. Time dilation is no illusion but harsh physical verity. Near light speed, the vessel's time retards relative to the external cosmos at rest. At exact light speed, time ceases. Departure and arrival coalesce instantaneously. For photons, billions of light years traverse in an instant, no temporal experience, no aging, no alteration. But for humans tethered to biological processes and memories, temporal stasis signifies the cessation of conscious entityhood. Further, should this barrier shatter into superluminality, we would not merely hasten but inaugurate temporal regression. In spatio-temporal geometry's idiom, surpassing light speed equates to escaping the current light cone, invading the absolute past domain. This spawns irresolvable causal paradoxes. Imagine a superluminal signal averting yesterday's mishap. If the mishap never occurs, today's rationale for signaling vanishes. Does the signal persist? Such logical loops are no intellectual diversions but fissures rending reality's fabric. The universe cannot function if effects precede causes, as a cup shattering on the floor before slipping from the hand. Thus, light-speed guardians order, ensuring every tale has inception and denouement, every action elicits determinate outcome, lest the cosmos plummet into formless chaos. More profoundly, this boundary interlaces with spatial structure. Spacetime is no fixed stage for material performances but a supple fabric, bendable, expandable, contractible. Matter-energy's presence curves this fabric, engendering what we term gravity. Moving entities ripple the cloth, like vessels stirring waves on a lake. These gravitational waves propagate at light speed. Should the sun vanish abruptly now, Earth would not immediately deviate orbit. We would persist perceiving solar light, sensing gravity, enduring 8 more minutes. The sun's demise message arrives via gravitational waves and light's absence, only then does Earth drift into chill space. This latency evinces that all interactions, gravitational or electromagnetic, non-instantaneous. The cosmos interconnections are delayed, speed-capped dialogues. This deferral bestows each spatial region unique integrity, permitting galaxies and stellar systems relative autonomy, unbesieged by chaotic influences from cosmic afar. We must also reconsider the vacuum notion. Interstellar space is no intuitive void. It seethes with virtual particle pairs fleetingly birthing and annihilating, a vast quantum energy ocean. Light traversing vacuum interacts with this quantum edifice. Its velocity is dictated by nature's basal constants, such as vacuum permeability and permittivity. These numerals were exquisitely tuned in the universe's infancy. Were light speed markedly swifter or tardier, atomic structures would alter, stellar nuclear reactions destabilize, precluding life's formation as we know it. Thus, the light-speed boundary is no penalty but among creation's most refined parameters, enabling matter to cohere into complex forms rather than disperse into pure energy. Humanity often laments confinement by stellar vastnesses, igniting conquest urges. The nearest star, Proxima Centauri, exceeds for light years. With current technology, millennia are requisite. Even near light speed, galactic rim voyages demand tens of millennia in terrestrial time, mere decades for voyagers. This signifies any interstellar expedition adhering to extant physical laws is an eternal farewell. Departures shall never behold returnees. Upon homecoming, ancient civilizations may have perished. Light-speed solitude is the toll for exploring the expansive cosmos. Yet this distance and severance safeguard nascent civilizations. Were instantaneous transit viable, the universe might devolve into battlegrounds for potent civilizations, rather than serene oases for life's independent germination. Perhaps human wisdom shall not breach the light wall with brute reaction engines but seek subtler alternatives. Theoretical propositions like wormholes or warp drives suggest abbreviating distances without superluminality by contracting anterior space. Yet even these resolutions demand undiscovered exotic matter energy and stringent adherence to cosmic conservation principles. Regardless of path, light speed's paramount lesson is humility. We are not masters bending laws at whim but apprentices comprehending nature's grand tone. Each discovered limit calibrates more precise equations of reality. Light speed's existence also constrains our observational faculty. Post-Big Bang, light from remotest galaxies has yet to reach us, yielding a cosmic event horizon. Beyond lies eternal enigma. We dwell within a light bubble, expanding each second, delivering further past images. Each photon striking telescopes narrates tales billions of years old, primordial stars igniting, galaxies colliding and merging. Gazing spaceward is temporal regression. We behold not the universe now, but then. The twinkling night sky is a colossal historical museum, its past vividly preserved before us by light's finite speed. Were light instantaneous, nocturnal skies would blaze with all stellar radiance, dazzlingly incinerating life, eradicating night structure essential for sleep and ecological equilibrium. In that era, ancient philosophers who gazed upon the Milky Way, weaving myths of fiery chariots traversing heavens, deemed light space's agile lion. Only later did they grasp its finitude as the anchor preventing all past, present, and future from collapsing into meaningless chaos. With profound gratitude, we pay homage to James Clerk Maxwell, who unified light and electromagnetic fields in mathematical symmetry's elegance, to Albert Einstein, whose genius intuition discerned the absolute yielding to the relative, and to thousands of researchers, engineers, and nocturnal skywatchers, who in laboratories and observatories devoted lifetimes measuring each ray, enabling diminutive humanity to comprehend our galactic station. Their perseverance, courage, and pursuit of truth transmuted fear into exploratory zeal. We thank them. Though we cannot surpass the speed of light, humanity's imaginative and comprehending desires know no bounds. May they continue to illumine the galaxy's shadowed recesses. Some things remain eternally unattainable, but that distance itself is the solemn, sacred beauty of truth's pursuit. The night sky is no utter darkness but a dense velvet tapestry woven from faint light threads journeying billions of years. Were the full electromagnetic spectrum visible, heavens would shimmer in chaotic hues from cosmic microwave background, the echo of all formation's inception. Yet human eyes, evolved over millions of years beneath a warm golden sun, perceive but a narrow band of reality. This biological constraint resonates with light speed's physical limit, crafting a safety veil lest the universe's ferocious vastness overwhelm us. We oft bemoan entrapment by solar system distances, yet few intuit those spans as colossal insulating layers. They barricade galactic calamities like gamma-ray bursts or supermassive black hole eruptions from instantaneously extinguishing our fragile blue planet's life. Recent 2025 studies reveal that near light speed travel blue shifts cosmic background radiation into hazardous gamma rays, unveiling another peril of high-velocity voyages. Delving deeper into the essence of cosmic velocity boundaries, we confront concepts transcending mere motion, causality. Light speed is no particle velocity for photons but the supreme tempo for information dissemination, the maximal rhythm of causal linkage. Envision spacetime as a serene lake. Each event is a stone cast therein. Ripples diffusing are the event's influence upon the cosmic remainder. No signal or effect may outpace the initial wave. A supernova 10 light-years distant erupts now. We enjoy 10 more years of tranquil existence, night skies aglow with its gentle light, unaware of its demise. To us, it lives on. Death's tidings arrive via final rays striking retinas, only then does our reality fracture, a new one intruding. This evokes a poetic, solemn verity, our present is woven from countless others' pasts. No one shares an identical instantaneous now, for even the gaze between faces and cerebral cognition harbors micro-delays. Light speed's invariance yields wondrous mass-energy equivalencies, rendering traditional propulsion engine stellar conquest dreams nigh impossible. As a vessel accelerates near light speed, it not only hastens but its existential structure transmutes. Under special relativity, energy fueling the vessel converts not wholly to velocity but directly to mass. Near the absolute threshold, the vessel grows heavier. Approaching the brink, mass soars infinitely. Advancing a scintilla demands infinite energy. This is creation's vertical wall, a stark reminder that tangible matter cannot attain pure light's realm. Only zero-rest mass particles like photons claim privilege to glide at that limit. For matter, pursuing light speed mirrors chasing the horizon, the swifter, the remoter the goal, burdened by escalating structural weight. At such extremities, space-time is no static stage but a living, curving, stretching organism. Near light-speed voyagers perceive anterior stellar distances contract, the cosmos seemingly folding to beckon them. Thousands of light-years sensed as mere weeks. Yet the toll is eternal phase disparity with homeland time flows. A vessel day may equate to terrestrial centuries. Halting at novel worlds, they are spatial sojourners and temporal wanderers, skimming time's plane to distant futures. They emerge as phantoms of yore, alighting in eras where their names endure solely in archaic archives' faded data. This solitude is no geographical but chronological, the profound sorrow of one standing beyond their people's historical stream. Yet from light itself, the photon born in remote stellar cores, temporal concepts hold no meaning. At light speed, time halts. The instant of departure from stellar surface and collision with our telescopes billions of years hence, what to human clock spans eons, to the photon is synchronous, instantaneous, a singular event. It wanders not billions of years through chill space, birth and arrival are the blink. To light, the universe lacks depth or distance, all spatial points collapse into eternal now. We sluggish, time-bound material beings sense separation, waiting, longing. Light connects all not by motion but by erasing temporal notions between interaction points. This unveils a profound philosophical vista. At basal levels, the universe is more unified than imagined, our sense separations are illusions from sensory and material constraints. Despite this, humanity yields not before limits. The desire to transcend light speed concerns not velocity but escaping causal shackles, mastering fate. If we unearth means to cheat rules, via spatial bends or wormholes, we confront dreadful logical paradoxes. Superluminal motion theoretically equates temporal regression. We might regress to intervene in events shaping the present, spawning inescapable causal loops. Does the universe harbor self-protective mechanisms barring such paradoxes? Or is the order we perceive a veneer over chaotic true essence? Perhaps light speed is the diligent sentinel, ensuring the cosmic chronicle remains unscribbled, each cause preceding effect, every tale bearing clear inception and terminus. Recent physicists in 2025 propose grandfather paradoxes resolvable via temporal loops and quantum fluctuations erasing entropy, viewing the universe as self-consistent evolution. In that dawn, humanity's primordial night sky observers who charted constellations, weaving myths of gods in heavenly trains, believed light instantaneous, a luminous gift from supreme beings illuminating Earth. They knew not that familiar light concealed constants dictating the universe's entire structure, from atomic formation to galactic expansion. They deemed light a loyal servant, unaware it reigns as the shadowy sovereign of the spatio-temporal realm. Only later did they grasp light speed's finitude not as creation's flaw but a benevolent safeguarding causal integrity and existential meaning. Absent this limit, past, present, and future would meld into meaningless chaos, our endeavors null. In this eerie order's profound insight, the mind finds serenity, extending genuine gratitude to the giants who illumine our path. Thanks to James Clerk Maxwell, who in mathematical tongue unified light's electromagnetic fields, revealing symmetrical beauty. Thanks to Albert Einstein, whose genius intuition challenged millennial prejudices, demonstrating time's non-absoluteness, light as the universe's sole scale. Thanks to thousands, tens of thousands of fellow physicists, astronomers, engineers, quiet researchers, who beside scribbled papers, atop chill mountaintop telescopes, in subterranean laboratories devoted lifetimes measuring each ray, enabling diminutive humanity to comprehend our stellar sea position. Thanks for their perseverance, courage, pursuit of truth, transmuting fear into exploratory ardor. As humanity takes longer strides cosmosward, may we bear not only cutting-edge technology but humility learned from these physical limits. View the universe not as resource mine or conquest domain but as knowledge's temple, each star and ray a lesson in harmonious order. May interstellar solitude heighten appreciation for our kin's warmth, cherishing our soul blue home. Some things remain eternally unattainable. There are event horizons uncrossable, pasts irreversible. Yet in that sweet impotence, in unfillable distances, we discover desire's eternal beauty. Because not all can be seized, each step, each discovery, each gleam of understanding amid ignorance's night becomes infinitely precious. Perhaps the journey's true essence lies not in ultimate destinations but in diminutive lives' unyielding endeavor, gazing nightward, dreaming infinity,